Tanner Lancaster here at Two Wolf Studio in Artist Den with an awesome guest, Chris Schultz, which I've been on his show before, but one of my inspirations when it comes to meet the artist and just supporting the arts in downtown, in Topeka, period. No boundaries in Topeka. And you've always been a voice for the growth and the change and the positiveness in Topeka. You're also working with TPAC right now. Yep. You're doing stuff in Missouri, in Branson.
Mm-hmm.
You're an artist in your own right, but you are also, I mean, for people like me, we appreciate what you've been doing here in Topeka.
Well, I appreciate what you've been doing, and I know what it's like, trying to start a little something in the community and get it going, and just doing it. And like this show, when you said, "Do you want to do this?" I was like, "Yeah, let's do it right now. Let's go."
Yes.
I want to do this, and thanks for having me. It's really cool to be here, and I'm glad that you're doing all this. A lot of things changed in my life that moved things forward. This last year has literally been the ride of my life, and I never thought that I'd be doing the things that I've been able to experience, and it's just really cool. Follow your dreams, folks, because they will take you places.
Yes.
They absolutely will, and that's why I think it's important for all of us to kind of stand together and look at our arts community and what you do here, talking about building a listing of people who are doing great things within the arts community here. I see the value in that, and I'm so glad. Like I know that you're so grateful to the contributions I've made, and I say it takes a village, and I'm just glad I don't have to be the village idiot all the time, my friend.
Thank you. Totally, we'll jump right up on that stage, and everybody knows that. But yeah, totally an inspiration to what I've been doing, and just your support in Topeka for the many years that. I'm not from Topeka, and so it's easy for me to come in and see what you've been trying to do. You had your broadcast and stuff, and you even had something on one of the TV stations and stuff. So I was familiar with your work even before, but then you was also the director of Arts Connect, and I was on the board there, right? Director?
I was the president of the board.
President.
Yeah.
Sorry, president of the board, yes. Yeah. And got to know you a little bit better there, but always just really loved your positiveness when it came to Topeka. Yeah. And you have two places over here on Kansas Avenue. Mm-hmm.
Field of Greens and the Break Room.
Yes, Break Room's always doing comedies on First Friday. Is that what's happening?
We do all kinds of different events.
Events.
Just the idea is that you can, find something different going on there, and just be around people that are creative and have a good positive vibe that's open and welcoming for everybody.
And you also coordinate events. What is it that you? I don't know the title or anything, but you are very involved with TPAC as well.
Yeah, I've done a lot of work with the Topeka Performing Arts Center.
Yeah.
Whenever they have a need for something, I'm going to be going in and working with Jeff Dunham.
Yeah.
So we bring those acts in, do my little parts for each one of the things, and just try and bring another layer of awareness to what's going on there. And let me just say, it's in working in the development side of the arts in a small local community. The challenges that we face in our community are not unique. They're the same type of challenges that every community just like this faces, and there is a huge surge
definitely.
In the homeless population, there's a lot of people with needs, and we look at those needs and they are incredibly important. We have to make sure that they're taken care of, but we also have to feed the souls, and that's what keeps a sense of community together. And it's really important that we know that there's a million different charities out there, and everybody is really trying to do something from their heart. They really want to make it work, and people have to be selective with what they're doing. We only have so much to go around, and in order to grow the pool that we have that's available, when we look at it as, say, an arts community, the more divisions that exist, the more difficult it becomes for Topeka to achieve the title of being a great arts town. And to actually back it up. And I believe we do. I believe that there's enough people that we have a critical mass there. But sometimes we pick
and choose.
Sure. And that's what happens. People get hired to a specific job. They're supposed to represent that job at any cost, and a lot of times it's difficult to think about where is the healthy balance. How do we make sure we've got a good overall ecosystem for the arts in this community that doesn't have any infighting, that actually works together to grow the pool of available funds instead of watching it, sink and decide, where we're going to put the deck chairs on the Titanic.
Not give up because you didn't win the dollar or something, right?
Exactly. We got to keep pushing forward. And that's in going on tour and seeing people that are in other communities and working with them. One of the coolest things, when you go on vacation, you're basically paying for the people that are there, the waitresses in the restaurants, the people who check you in at your hotels. All those people are there to give you a rosy picture about where you're supposed to be.
Exactly.
When you go on the road and you work hardcore with the roadies, the people who are willing to climb up in the ceilings and do the hard grunt manual work, and that's what they love to do, you hear everything about what it's really like there. And you spend a day working in their shoes and you work right alongside of them, you learn it all. And you realize that everybody is trying to get out of where they are. And is it a programming thing that has to do with, in the arts community? It may not be a physical space, but it may be just thinking like where they are in their own mindset or wherever they're trying to get out.
If I could just get out of here, I can make it.
Yes, and looking at, the artistic-minded people, that's just what we do. We are looking for the next best thing to be able to develop, to grow. Art and to be able to bring more to the people around us. We are empathetic creatures.
Is that a common mistake between artists then? Is they just thinking not to make the best of where they're at, but thinking if I lived somewhere else, I could do better?
Maybe it might be, and
in your opinion, I guess I'd say.
I think people have to do what's right for them. Where the place that speaks to them the most is where they should be. What tells them it's home, what makes them feel like it's home. That's what home is.
Well, you tour, you do work in other places, but you still have a big love, big heart for Topeka as well, right?
I do, and I wrestle with it. There's been a roller coaster of emotions and a lot of things, that haven't been so kind, and it's just me learning a part of the system that I'd never seen before, and realizing that we have to do a little bit of work on how we treat our victims. Like when something happens, we can't just turn our backs. We got to look it in the face. We can't let things fester to get out of control. We have to be more proactive in dealing with them. No matter how many fires we're trying to put out, we still have to make sure that we're realizing that when people are hurt, there is damage that's done to their families, to their souls, to everything, and it puts them in positions where we have to realize that exists. We got to move forward. We got to provide some solutions that are going to make it so that that same thing doesn't keep happening. So that's my big concern.
And the we is us. The people. It's still we the people.
It is.
And the government is of the city or the state or whatever is still a small amount of. It's still we. It's still us.
Right.
So the main thing to do is to be involved, get your voice out, say things, voice your opinion, and vote. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see. Reading the headlines and seeing that we had an 18-19% voter turnout in the last municipal election, and that's higher than average voter turnout.
That's beautiful, right?
It's beautiful, but man, come on, we got to get that higher.
Yeah.
We got to get presidential levels in these local elections. Like that's what we need to be, because these are the things that affect our homes the most. The decisions that are made and
these are the local ones are the most important, aren't they?
Absolutely. Everybody needs to make sure that yes, you have a vote, and that's my thing. I was saying, it's like a lot of people like to complain about things. I don't want people to complain anymore. Their voting record is public record, your attendance, so you can tell who showed up and who didn't. So it's like you complain. I think you just need to look people up and then put them in place. Like give them a little bit of a jab. Like, well, you really didn't vote. You're valid, but you didn't vote this last time. Why didn't you vote? Because you have an opinion now. Right. And are you going to use that opinion the next time that you have an opportunity to vote? And I think we need to call people out on it. I committed myself to 9 hours of driving in a car so that I could vote because I was on tour.
Yeah,
and I wasn't.
That's why you're back in
it.
town, I guess.
There's something about it. I believe it's our civic duty. Whether you
No doubt
believe
about it.
that that you've seen the worst part of the world and it doesn't matter or whatever, you still have to do it. You have to keep hope and keep the faith, and you got to get your license to complain.
Yes,
like that's
totally.
Every time you have an opportunity to vote, it's to renew your license to complain.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
I don't know where to go with that, but I am going to say, like, downtown and Topeka. What is that the solution? Like, because there's a lot of people that will say nothing will change in Topeka, blah blah blah. We've heard it for years. I keep seeing changes since I've moved here, from Noto to downtown. Like, it's constantly changing. It's turning into beautiful things. So how do we reach those people and get them to go, you know what? Maybe I should start having a voice. Maybe my voice does matter. Maybe my attendance does matter. How do we get them involved?
What you're doing right now, and that's what I believed when I was working in Topeka and doing these things, trying to bring people together to show the real sides of people. You know, I own a historic building, and I wanted to look up information. People ask me all the time about the businesses that were in the building before it, the Tinkenville building. And, you want to know about those people. And I started thinking from that perspective. This was way back when we were thinking about this, and the YouTube was just coming out, and everything was. We could start doing something with this, and it made it, so we could tell people's stories more than a 30-second soundbite or one line in the newspaper about, hey, this store opened, and then you look up the next article, and it's like, hey, this store had something happen, or the next store is, hey, this store closed, and there's no story to it. Like we didn't actually show any personality of the people.
Yes.
That's what makes a community, when you can show that personality, people will stand together when they realize that their neighbors are just like they are, and that we do all have the same, and everybody's staring at their devices right now, and hopefully they are watching this, and don't turn it off, but we also need to be more attentive to what's around us,
Totally,
I came from that time when we grew up in an analog and a digital time. We remember what it's like, and we can now say, back in my day, we did this, and we didn't always just have a smartphone with a calculator in our pocket. Back in my day, we told our teachers, well, we'll just have a calculator in our pocket all the time. And they said, you're going to have it all the time. No, now we do.
Yes,
so
we do.
There you go. But the whole point is to adapt and to be able to actually do something with that. And that's what we've got to do as a community. No matter where I am, the people that I have gotten to know in Topeka have spoken to my heart deeply. And when I'm around here and I go out in public and people come up to me and they say, hey, how are you doing? I realize things got really tough. It makes me feel so good that I can stand up and say, things are going great. And I've seen different perspectives, and I still want to share that with my hometown community. Don't necessarily know the best way to do that right now.
Sure.
But I do know that all I can say is connect. Everybody has got to connect. And that means putting aside everything else and just saying, if you love the arts in Topeka, and this person loves the arts in Topeka, and that organization loves the arts in Topeka, there is not a rivalry that should exist between any of those people. I agree. And that should be everything that works together that's going to move things forward have got to encourage it.
Yeah.
In doing my show, one of the biggest challenges I got here was, I would say, in looking for support for sponsorships for it. And you're being first with something. People don't even speak that language. They don't know. And you don't have the resources to blow through the roof to say, this is what we are. We're just kind of doing it step by step, one piece by piece. But we're seeing this
thing.
And so you present something, you show something. And I would say one thing, don't ever say to creative people if they're looking for support is, what benchmarks, especially if they spent their whole life living here, what benchmarks do you have from other communities where this has been successful? Don't ever say that, because someone who is from a community, it doesn't matter where you're from, what your influences are, whatever, you have the ability to come up with something that no one's ever thought of before. And I felt that I heard that too much from this community, that I felt like I had to be creative with inside of a box. And when you're looking from that box trying to claw your way out, and you don't have the kind of resources to buy your way out and go to Paris whenever you want to, like you're stuck in that box until you actually find a way out, and you're like, I did it, I've created something, this is great, this is awesome, this is perfect.
Yes.
And then you try and look for support for it, and people don't understand it, and you're really passionate and you really want to try it, and you get that answer. Topeka, the biggest thing it's done for me is actually taught me how to hear no in every single way possible.
Yeah.
So
that's the
cool.
best thing to learn.
It
is how
is.
to hear no. Like,
It
don't be
is.
afraid to hear it.
And then go back for it, because
Yeah.
that's the way you can take what you learn in our community and do
Exactly.
great things with it in
Yeah.
the rest of the world. That can then come back and shine as an example for the people in your hometown.
I believe that's 100%. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's important. That's why I say, when you said you want to come down here and do the show, I'm like, heck yeah, I want to come down and do this show.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this stuff. I
I
want there to be an avenue where this can be talked about more, because it's so important.
And that's our goal with this, really, is to focus on that. Focus on the growth of the arts. Focus on the maybe people that aren't paying attention to certain things or something. Just to try to help get rid of that. Guess what? Things can happen in Topeka. You get rid of nothing can happen in Topeka, because things are happening, and there is issues that will come with any business, and you'll be back and forth with. But that's part of business. That's part of the community in a way. It's healing and getting past it and moving forward that really makes that makes things blossom.
Absolutely. Communities that have the strongest arts communities are the communities that are united the most.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
We understand the value in art. We're willing to invest in it. We see it as a valuable investment in our community, not just a frivolous item, because really, I don't know, if you've looked outside anywhere in the world lately, there's a lot of problems, and there's a lot of fighting and a lot of division going on, and all those things.
Wherever you want to move.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It goes completely against everything I'm trying to preach right now. As pulling people together.
Yeah, but
whatever we have, political minds, art minds, whatever minds we have, we can find common ground if we so set out to do so.
So it's really not about the boundaries of an arts community or a sports community or this kind of community. It's really about our whole community, Topeka community. People coming together and understanding that we will have differences, but still pulling together for a common goal.
Absolutely.
And that's a betterment of life, no matter where we live, right?
I mean, absolutely. We should not just go around thinking about what we can offer the world. We also need to recognize what other people offer to the world, and whenever we have the opportunity, we need to encourage it, because that's how you grow. That's how someone takes the next step to get to where they need to be, is that someone recognize them and encourage them to move forward. And that, a lot of times comes from people who you never even know even saw it. They just did something out of the kindness of their heart. They paid it forward somehow just to make something happen for someone else. And we have the ability to make miracles for people's lives. The smallest things to us, the little bit that we can influence in our lives, plays a huge role in somebody else's. The littlest thing, the one phone call we can make that will make someone's dream come true, why should we not make that phone call?
Yes.
If we can sit there and look outside of ourselves and be more empathetic about the world around us, why should we not make that phone call?
Right. Yes. I mean, that just makes me laugh, because I'm like, I called you got a hold of you today and was like, can you come by? He goes, yeah, I'll be there in 20 minutes or whatever,
Yeah,
And I appreciate that. Thank you, because I realized that's what you're saying, too.
I didn't even think you'd come on the show.
I mean, I thought maybe it'd be like a week, or you were like, I don't know if you'd even want to do, like, I got this little camera going and stuff. But, I really appreciate it, and I appreciate your message. I appreciate what you've been doing for Topeka. You even ran for mayor. You're not just one about talk, you're one about action, and I appreciate you for that, and I'm inspired by it, and I hope that, I hope that inspiration has spread throughout this town, because, together I think we can rise and lift each other and make the city a lot better,
Yeah.
just by getting rid of the thought that it can't ever happen.
Yeah.
And realize that it can. And I appreciate you for all you've done, man.
A lot of people are concerned with the kind of legacy they can leave in the world, whether they're putting their name on a building or they're putting some kind of thing or whatever that is. And they want to be able to say that they did something. And if anything that I say that I want people of Topeka to see, it's that I want them to see my example as the idea that someone who is born here, raised here, went to college here, did everything here, always has the ability to follow their dreams and to actually realize them. Because you do. And you don't let the outside influences knock you down. You stand back up. And that's the thing. I thank Topeka for that bit of giving me that ability to know how to get back up and keep going at it, because that is a valuable lesson. It's training for life, Awesome. It's a valuable lesson.
That is beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on this, man.
Anytime.
I appreciate you so much.
Anytime I'm in town,
and keep on,
let me know.
Keep on kicking ass in this city, and always looking for you coming into town, see what you got in store for whatever you may have in store, and hearing about your shows that you're doing in other places, especially in Branson.
I tell you what, it's
down in Branson. Go see him in Branson. And you're over there. Next week?
Illusionist Rick Thomas. Yeah, I'll actually be headed back there this weekend.
Yeah.
And then I'll be there for a while. So, I don't get to spend a lot of time in Topeka, and I know that there's a lot of people out there who, have been they've been saying a lot of prayers for us and keeping things going. And I tell you, it's been felt. And I appreciate you having this opportunity to provide a platform for me to be able to say that to people.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. And like I said, that's the awesome things, that when people know that they are at a place, Topeka is my hometown, and you could still, you don't have to get out of Topeka to be successful, but you could always go different places and not forget your hometown.
You should.
That's where success feels the best, is when you could come back to your hometown.
Yeah.
Or when you could still be in your hometown doing the awesome things that you're doing, and other artists that are from Topeka that are doing.
Being part of that arts community, we're the people, the artists, the creative class, we're the ones that plant the seeds in the minds of the youth, that make them see as they grow up here,
most
the things
importantly,
that they fall in love with, and the things that make them in their mind say this is home. We want them to be able to grow up, go to a college anywhere they want in the world. Washburn's great. That's where I went, and it's a fabulous school. But you don't have to just go there, just be able to call it home. Everybody who lives here, growing up, going to school, the little fun things that you have to do, your neighbors and all the stories that you have to tell of growing up with them, those are the seeds that make us call a place home. Yeah. And they're the lifelong bonds that we'll have forever. And we only get one of those places.
Yeah, that's
some
true.
People get a lot of them, and it's kind of watered down. But for me, I'm lucky that I have one of those places that could really tie to those people. I can show back up, walk down the street, and people know me, and they come up and they say hi, and it's cool. You can be known. Go anywhere else, nobody knows me, and that's great. I'm cool with that too, because then I have a healthy balance of being able to be seen or not. I get to see my friends, or I get to be somewhere and nobody knows who I am. That's pretty cool.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Man, so that happens to remind me of a question I wanted to ask too. For somebody who wants to follow the way you've done things, and the youth, the kids, the young kids that are paying attention and saying, has anybody else been able to do? What kind of advice would you give to them on pursuing their dreams?
I would say to follow your intuition, follow your heart. And to me, right now, I'm working with an illusionist that when I was a kid, I watched on TV.
That's awesome, yes.
And I was inspired. And I did big full stage illusion shows as fundraisers for my high school when I was in high school. Yeah. And it was in the newspaper, and it was cool. Yeah. We were doing all these things, and we were creating all this stuff, and we were doing it not we were had Las Vegas budgets. We had a lot of it was bed sheets and that kind of stuff that we put together. But we did it. We raised money for our school, and we follow it. And then you go through life, and you spend a lot of time doing things that other people think you should do in order to be the best member of society that you can be. And you know what? You have to do that a little bit in life. You got to do it a little bit in life. And then you get to the point where you have this freedom where, everything comes full circle. And to me, I never could have predicted that something that I loved to do so much as a kid, I found that it stayed in my heart. And, the ACT came through Topeka. I got to work with them and establish a good business relationship. And the next thing you know, I get to work with the ACT. I get to work at the Mansion of Dreams. Like, how cool is that? Like, we make people fly. We cut them in pieces. We do all the cool stuff that you've ever wanted to see. It's the biggest, coolest, most spectacular touring magic show that we've got going in the world right now. So, it's pretty cool. It's taken me places.
So a little bit of discipline and a little bit consistency.
Yeah, just stick with it. You have to, even while you're doing that phase in your life where people are telling you what you need to do and you got to do that, keep something. Maybe you don't have the time to do any of it, but just keep a little bit of it alive. Just keep, don't let it.
Don't
die.
forget to visit it.
Yes. Yeah, because we're really honest to ourselves when we're kids. It's when everybody else starts telling us, oh, you should have this, and you should have that, and you should have this, and then they should all over themselves. And then, where does it leave us?
Right.
So, but when we're kids, we just know what we naturally like. I always think people should explore what that is, like what ties them to happiness when they were a kid.
Yes.
And when you tie that and then try and figure out how you can grow happiness once you've gone through the lessons, Daniel-san.
That's great. I mean, that sums it up for the community, for the childhood. Sums it up for all of it. Really, is don't forget about when you was a kid and you was searching for happiness. Let's achieve it.
And don't forget about the people that you enjoyed doing it with when you were a kid. And just that. Don't forget about all those people that
family
are
and friends.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep those bonds close. They're not going to be there forever, and every single day is just one day. The thing that gets me is you could take one of the examples that I heard is you just think about a solar flare could literally knock us all out of existence tomorrow. The perfect balance of everything that it takes to create this world that we live in. It's spectacular.
Right now, it's the most important part.
It is, and one little thing that changes can knock that all out. So when we're carrying around in our head all of this stuff, this little minor stuff that doesn't matter, perhaps people are hurting so much that it's hurting us, and we've got to be able to remove them from our lives and get to that point where we can keep our. You can't put the oxygen mask on somebody. You got to put it on yourself first, and then help others with theirs. Right. So we have to do that. But when it really boils down to it, what we're doing for those other people around us is truly something that I find enriching. And I don't get to talk to those people as much anymore. I don't get to see a lot of the people that I saw here as much anymore. Over the last couple of years, it's been wild. But I want them all to know that I'm still on their team, and I want them to continue to be their best selves and to follow where they're supposed to be going in life. And if they listen to themselves a little bit more than they listen to everybody else, they should get there.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You bet.
That's exactly what I was hoping to hear from you, because that's what inspires me about you, man. I appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you too.
Chris Schultz, and I'm Alexander Lancaster at Two Wolf Studio in Artist Den. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, man.
Topeka, Kansas.